Hey, before we jump into this video, I got a question for you. Comment down below and let me know what sniper rifle you are using right now, because I'm just curious what you guys are running. But if you find value here, go ahead and subscribe because we do videos like this almost every day. So after the recent sniper rifle buffs and changes, I noticed a lot of different things with the Cold War guns. I'm sure a lot of you guys are noticing as well. And I noticed while I was looking, the highest KD loadout for the K31 Swiss is just absolutely weird. So I wanted to show you guys this loadout and kind of what I found in my testing. So we're going to put this gun up against the K98 and the SPR 208. That is because these guns are basically the meta movement sniper rifles. Basically anywhere from like 60 meters on to like 140 meters. That's basically where we're going to use these guns. A lot of quick scoping, a lot of just quick head taps is what you're shooting for with these guns. But I want to start by talking about the K31 Swiss. And the K31 Swiss is a rifle that came in and just kind of, it was meh when it dropped. But after a few updates, it really got buffed to where it needed to be to compete with the K98. And that means that it's a fairly quick ADS gun, it's great for quick scoping, and it does its job fairly well, except for the bullet drop part. So the Swiss K31 is in the neighborhood of around 40 rounds per minute, and a bullet velocity of around 900 meters per second once you're kitted out. And all of this combines for a about frame or two difference from the K98 for ADS time for around 400 milliseconds for ADS time. So really, it's not that bad to use, and it's a fairly quick gun to run around with. But the K31 Swiss loadout is going to look something like this. It's going to be the 24.9-inch combat recon barrel, the sound moderator, which is the new silencer, the SWAT 5mm laser sight, which is the upgraded, basically tac laser for the Cold War guns, the no stock attachment for the stock, and the serpent grip, because that gives you the most ADS increase for sniper rifles. So now let's check out the SPR. The SPR is the gun that actually I have the most attachment to, and I was kind of surprised with my findings after doing all these tests. So while I typically would load up with the 26-inch barrel, for some reason the guys on Warzone Rank, the top KD group, are just not using that barrel, and after using their loadout I really understand why, and it's going to be my new loadout that I run more often than not, more than likely, even though it does have the slowest bullet velocity of the group and is kind of a problem child except for the fire rate, which is a big deal for me. So the SPR comes in at 47 rounds per minute. Again, that is not that much faster than the other rifles, but it does help you get a couple more rounds down range if you need to kind of give yourself a helping hand putting some damage down there. The bullet velocity, like I said, is the lowest at 840 meters per second, so it does have considerable bullet drop if you're shooting out past 150 meters or so. But as usual, just kind of aim for the top of the head and pay attention to what reticle you're using, and you should be okay. The number one KD loadout for the SPR is going to be the RK SP TAC 208 Ultimate Stock, Solo Zero Optic, the TAC Laser, the Monolithic Suppressor, and the normal round mags. But like I said, when I switched to the K98, I really got excited for the movement rifles because I got a kind of a taste of what everybody else has been using, and I didn't understand why until I used the gun for a few hours again, and was kind of forced to use only that instead of using an AR as my primary. So the K98 actually was the gun that is like the most picked gun on WarzoneRank.com, and this is the loadout for the number one KD of the most picked gun on WarzoneRank.com. And the K98 is throwing out 44 rounds per minute. The fire rate is directly between that of the SPR and the K31 Swiss. The bullet velocity is by far the highest in the group at 1,033 meters per second, so it is hit scan at a pretty good distance. Basically, at to 100 meters, you're going to hit your shot without even thinking about it. Even beyond that, again, top of the head, and it's even more for sure than the other rifles. And it has the fastest ADS, even though it is roughly about the same as the Swiss. It was usually 1 or 2 frames faster than the Swiss at 397 milliseconds. But that said, with frame rounding and stuff like that, you're really not going to notice the difference between those two rifles. But all this coming to a head, though, I mean, the K98 obviously is the winner here for movement rifles. The K31 Swiss obviously is a second, and the SPR is going to be the third choice. But that being said, I'm still probably going to run the SPR myself long term. It's just the gun that I'm the most comfortable with. Which leads me to my next kind of topic here. So I want to talk about scopes, reticles, and just being comfortable with a gun and using that gun. So I've noticed as I've done a lot more of these tests that my KD in Warzone Battle Royale has dropped. And I think that's because I'm just testing guns more often than not. I'm not using the same gun day in, day out like you should be if you are trying to be competitive with this game. If you're trying to be good and actually do well in this game, KD-wise, you really need to use the same gun day in, day out, so you have just the muscle memory of that gun. You need to realize when I play, typically I'm going to run a game with the Grau, and then the next game I'm going to use the AK-47, and the next game I'm going to run with the K98, and then after that I'm going to run the Fin. You know, like, I'm jumping around gun to gun, getting all these metrics, playing around, getting little test footage here and there, and there's a couple of consistencies that I can have that really help me out. If you're willing to try other guns, and want to try other guns, I'm going to give you this tip, and it's going to be to pay attention to the reticles on the scopes. When it comes to sniper rifle scopes, there are really 3 great sniper rifle scopes, and actually the SPR comes with one that is fairly good. The K98 one is, it's not good at all. It takes up way too much of the screen. The one for the K31 Swiss is better, but it's still not ideal. But you're kind of stuck with that if you're going to run that. Otherwise, you're going to run the 4x Royal and Cross, and be on your merry way with the T-pose or precision, whatever it's called, on the 4x. But as you can see, you know, like, there's definitely, on some scopes you have the benefit of mil dots, on some scopes you have the benefit of just straight up clarity, some scopes you have the benefit of a smaller center reticle. But all of those things combined really make for a better rifle, as well as a better user experience for you as a player. Understanding this means that you can move from gun to gun as long as you can share the same scope or the same optic across those guns. It's going to be a little easier for you to kind of visually understand what's going on and just be comfortable, more confident with the gun. Yes, the recoil is going to be different, but you're going to have the consistency in your head of, I'm confident enough to use this gun because I've used this optic, if that makes sense. But if this video helped you guys out, give it a like. If you like me, give me a subscribe. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you around.